So let's talk about tonight. The theme, as you know, is In the Blink of an Eye. Stories of tragedy, triumph, and transformation. Tellers are going to be telling authentic first-person stories. Stories that are meant to be told in a wide and diverse audience. Our first teller is Kenneth Jones. His story is The Cornerstone.
My story goes back to 1986. In 1986, I had just finished Tallahassee Community College with my AA degree. Had been admitted into FAMU, in the School of Journalism. Things were looking well, very well. On top of that, then I get a job as an improv actor down at Busch Gardens in Tampa, paying good money, summer job. So things were really rolling well. I get down to Tampa and, Busch Gardens was just an imaginary world. It was one of those worlds where you could just play, have fun, take pictures with the tourists, ride the rides, put on shows. It was just that imaginary world, that wonderful imaginary world. Well, nearby, I stayed in the neighborhood not that far from there. Our neighborhood was challenged, to say the least. Stray dogs, trash barely picked up, no sidewalks, but it was our neighborhood. Drug dealing, open drug dealing, but it was still our neighborhood. So I would be in this imaginary world at Busch Gardens and just having so much great fun, and then I'll get off, and then I'll come home. And I'll come home, I change out of my outfit, and I wanted to always probably get a snack, some chips, a drink, or whatever. And so I would go down to our corner store. Now, our corner store is the only store in the area. We probably had to go 2 other miles to get to another store. So it was the store, it was our store. Now, it was our store, yet it was one of those stores where all of the windows were covered with beer ads and cigarette ads. Everything in the store was either overpriced or old and stale or both. But it was our store. That was where we could go. Kids, the little kids, they love going down to the store. But in the store, there was a store owner. And it was one of those owners that you just knew that for whatever reason, he didn't want to be in that neighborhood. He was there for the money and the money only. And so the kids would line up. So you have the kids line up outside. They couldn't come in the store all together to buy their goods. They had to line up outside. So I would come along after work, go in to get whatever I'm getting. I go into the store, buy some chips, buy a drink, and I put it up on the counter to pay and pay my money. You take the money out of my hand, put my change on the counter. Wouldn't put it in my hand. So I said, okay, no problem. I asked for a bag. Snap a bag, put the bag on the counter for me to put my goods in the bag. He looks at me, I look at him. I leave out the store, go on, go to work the next day, have a great time, putting on improv comedy. Yes, sir, come over here, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, just put on a heck of a show. But then I would get off. And then I'll go home, and I'll take off my little costume, and then I'll walk down to the store. And I'll walk down to the store again. I'll go get a honey bun, some milk, whatever. Kids are outside in the line of the store. He won't let them come in. And even when they came in, he was always screaming at them. Get back, get back, get back. And I'm looking and I'm watching him the way he's treating these kids. But anyway, I just go on and pay for my stuff. I give him the money. Again, he takes the money, puts my change on the counter. I get the change up, I put it in my pocket. He looks at me, I look at him. I said, can I have a bag, please? Snaps the bag, puts the bag down. I get the bag, I put my stuff in. And it was that time that as I was walking out of that store and looking at those kids and thinking about the way this owner of this store in this community, in our neighborhood, was humiliating everybody. Treating the kids like they didn't count. They just didn't count. Our neighborhood didn't count. I didn't count. And I thought about this as I walked back home. And as I walked back home, I made up in my mind that the next time he does that, I'm going across that counter on him. I'm gonna jump across the counter. He will not treat people like this anymore. So I went on home all night long. I thought about it and I thought about it. I slept, but I didn't sleep. Went to work the next day to Busch Gardens, did my shows. Shows went well, got off, and then I decided to go down to the store to get something. So I go down to the store, buy whatever goods I'm buying, and if, for whatever reason that day was different. There was only 2 kids in line outside the store. There was only 1 kid in line. He watched me like a hawk from the time I went in that door. I could feel his eyes on me. But no problem. I was just going to buy my stuff and get out. I put my goods up on the counter. I hand him the money. He puts the money on the counter. I look at him, he look at me. I say, can I have a bag, please? He puts the bag on the counter. And it was nothing but the Lord that talked to me that says, just leave it there. Leave it all there. Walk away. And that's what I did. I turned around, I walked away. I have no doubt in my mind that I triumphed over a possible tragedy in my life there. For one, he always kept his hand down near a counter down there, and I knew there had to be a gun or something down there. What it was, I don't know. But if I'd have went across that counter that day, I was either going to be shot or in jail, or both, or dead. As I look back now and I think about it, right after that, I would get an internship with the Tallahassee Democrat. Then I wound up being a newscast producer with WCTV, and the rest has just been great. But it was that moment. Years later, my family and I, we would go back by the store. We went back down to the store, drove back down to Tampa, back down the old road. Neighborhood was still the same, still very challenged. And now as I got to the store was boarded up. The store was closed. But I had to go back. Thank you all.